Welcome to BrainStorm 9000.
Hello, brains of the internet, and welcome to another episode of BrainStorm 9000.
Or should we say namaste today? Does it mean hi or bye? I don't remember.
Namaste, brains of the internet.
And
I think it's just like a greeting, or I don't know. We say it at the end of yoga class, but it's a room full of white people, so who knows?
So namaste. I'm Dr. Schultz, and across from me in our little studio here in Tribeca is a person who we call Master McMaster. Actually, her name is Jane McMaster, just has a master's degree in philosophy.
Yes,
and
that's
is very
me.
Smart.
And I won't let anyone forget how hard I worked to get to get what most people will call probably the most useless graduate degree. But you know what? I did it. I did it.
Well, actually, since we are speaking about meditation today, your degree in philosophy is very useful.
We'll see. So this week we're talking about something that I have been very interested in for a long time. We're talking about meditation. And here's the main reason why I'm interested in it. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there like me. Everyone knows now, well, if you're a new listener and you're just tuning in, spoiler alert, I have anxiety. Like all over the place, always have. It's extremely hard for me to focus. These meditation apps have been growing in popularity, like guided meditation.
Guided meditation, yes.
Where it's like a soft-voiced woman telling you to breathe in 2, 3, 4, hold 2,
Oh my
3,
God, I'm going
4.
to fall asleep right now.
It does make me fall asleep. That's because I have one of those meditation apps.
Right.
And I just put it on and it does help me fall asleep. But so I don't know how to actually reap the benefits of meditation because
it still could be beneficial. We need to talk about it.
So can you tell us what meditation is? This might seem like an obvious question, but I don't think it is.
Well, since I grew up in Moscow and my native language is Russian, and I studied with a grandmaster most of my adult life who is located in Moscow, most of the terminology that I know, I'll have to translate back. So meditation sometimes would be translated as trying to quiet your mind. A word that is very similar to meditation is contemplation. And we both like very much Kill Bill 2, the movie.
Yes, love it.
So
Quentin Tarantino.
remember this super martial arts teacher?
Yes, Pai Mei.
So he also in Kill Bill 2 periodically assumes meditating position, but seems to be doing it for very short periods of time. And one of the explanations is, look, he is Pai Mei. He is a super expert. He is a super teacher. So he can, let's still call it, quiet his mind almost instantaneously. It becomes like a, I don't know.
He's a grand master.
Yes.
And he's got the beard to show it.
And the mustache.
And the mustache. Oh.
Yeah. So it's good enough to say that meditation is a process during which a person tries to quiet their mind to get in touch with their inner self.
Okay. Can you break down for me what that means? So first of all, what does it mean to quiet your mind?
Well, so at the end, when you practice, actually for a number of years, I have to tell you, and have been doing it daily, 10 minutes a day, and I'll explain to you why most of the teachers don't recommend to do it longer. You stop having thoughts for this period of time. It's a very unusual state of mind, and there are things that begin to happen after that, but they sound kind of crazy, so I'll leave it to the audience's experience. So to quiet your mind to the point when you have no thoughts running through your mind, as anybody who's ever done this stuff, including you, Master McMaster, knows, is virtually impossible. You sit in your chair or in your lotus position or whatever you're comfortable in, you close your eyes, you start watching your breathing because that's what they tell you to do. And the first thing that happens, you become aware of even more thoughts that you normally have. Right?
I think we mentioned meditation in like briefly in one of our screen addiction episodes
Right.
earlier on, and I think I had told you that I've tried to meditate before, and I've tried to sort of clear my mind, but then when I'm doing that, all I can think about is clearing my mind, and then all of a sudden I have a thought of something that I need to do, and then that triggers like a memory of when I was 12 and I was doing this, and then that triggers a memory of a song or like a TV show theme, and then I'm thinking about all of these random things and I just can't stop it.
Right. And at least at this very moment, you don't have children, so you don't have to think about your children, your house, your grandchildren eventually. I
find plenty of things to worry about. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. So what I'm saying and what you are supporting is that it's very, very hard, and a lot of people feel it's virtually impossible. But let's step back for a second and give a thought to this. You and I, and every single of our listeners, is currently breathing, digesting, and maintaining a position in space. We are not aware of what's going on inside of our brain. And our brain is extremely busy right now. Even when we lie down and go to sleep, the brain remains extremely busy.
Yeah.
Sometimes we remember our dreams, sometimes we don't. But stuff is going on inside of our brain all the time. So what we are aware of is only what our mind has to offer us. And some neurophysiologists have been speaking about our brain, I'm not kidding you, tricking us into having a particular set of thoughts. So whatever the situation is, since we are not aware of probably over 90% of the activity of our brain, just the maintenance, we also ought to be able to quiet down the rest 10%, which we call consciousness, and everything else, of course, is subconscious, meaning we are not aware. So the awareness that is supposed to be raised during the process of meditation is kind of a strange thing, because you become more aware of self, and your thoughts that are distracting you from the awareness of self go away. All that I just said makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to anybody who's ever been in this state. It's like me trying to describe how to use the cell phone to people who've never seen a cell phone.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I'd also like you to elaborate on the idea that you just sort of touched on of getting in touch with your inner self, because I don't know what myself is if it's not my thoughts.
Right. So in order to find out, you need to assume the state of meditation. Arriving there takes a while. The immediate benefit that people talk about, and that's, I'm presuming, most of the people who are listening to us do meditate, is because it quiets you down. Quiets you, makes you feel relaxed, makes you feel content if you know how to do it, takes you into a beautiful world that does not exist on the physical plane.
I've never seen this beautiful world.
Well, I'm going to teach you. So, a little bit of history.
Yes, please.
So, people are aware that the idea of meditation came to our Western world from the East. Probably was not recognized by the Western science until Harvard professor Herbert Benson found that meditating subjects used 17% less oxygen than everybody else.
Whoa.
I can tell you that actually my first yoga teacher in Moscow participated in similar studies in the Soviet Union in the late 50s and the early 60s, when suddenly, for the reason I really don't know, grand yoga teachers decided to go all over the world, and they came to the United States. They also came to Russia. Russia and India has always had a very close relationship. And in Russia, they participated in multiple studies, and my first teacher participated in studies when he was a subject, after they taught him how to meditate and do Hatha Yoga, into what happens to the human body. Quite a bit. Meditation itself is very beneficial. So it dates all the way back to ancient cultures and religions. In no particular order, I have to tell you that Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhism, Judaism practiced it. Of course, meditation is definitely present also in the Muslim religion and definitely is present in the Christian religion. People pray. People pray sometimes silently. They quiet their mind and they direct it towards God in that case.
Okay, now see, the way you're describing this now so far sounds like something I do a little bit when I turn on Netflix.
Yes. So you meditate on Netflix.
But obviously not, I'm not getting all of these benefits.
So what actually happened that during the hippie movement in the 60s when New Age came about, people started meditating like crazy, no pun intended, and also started using substances to achieve meditating states.
Ooh, what substances?
Well, I let people use their imagination. Ram Dass, whose books I strongly recommend for people to read. Ram Dass. R-A-M space D-A-S. I'm not sure whether it's double S or single S.
We'll throw it up on the website,
Ram Dass.
BrainStorm 9000.
And because I have a favorite book of his, we'll probably show it. I actually met him probably 10, 15 years ago at one of the fundraising parties, and he's an amazing person. But I got to talk to him for probably 1 second. So he brought a lot of awareness about it, and many people spent time. People came to the United States and all over the world. There are many different types of meditation. One of the most popular and very structured ones is TM, Transcendental Meditation. One of the famous people I know never met, who practices TM all his life is Howard Stern, for example. Surprise, surprise. A lot of successful people meditate, and people who are not successful and just want to quiet their mind and be happier do meditate. So the attempt is to look inside of yourself, and also if you are a very spiritual person and want to practice spiritual meditation, then it helps you to connect to the endless mind of the higher being.
Okay.
So maybe you want to talk a little bit about the benefits, because we did some stats about it.
Yes, so actually, as it may be clear at this point, I've never personally experienced any of the benefits of meditation, but I did do some research into some of the studies that Dr. Schultz was referring to about what some of those results are and what they found meditation to be helpful for. In general, meditation has been known to help with a variety of different kinds of like mental health issues. And the most notable ones are things like anxiety, depression, PTSD, addiction, aggression, suicidality. Whoa, that's fucking impressive.
Yes, we have to be careful here. And one thing I would like to offer to our audience and you, Master McMaster, to consider is this. Let's imagine that somebody who has not achieved, let's say, proficiency in the art of meditation decides to meditate away the fear and anxiety caused by sitting in the dental office waiting room. It ain't gonna happen. I cannot say it properly. Can you say it with a good accent? It ain't gonna happen.
What accent are you looking for?
Like, from the West. Like the drawl. It ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen.
Yes. No, it's not going to happen. Because you don't know how to use this tool. So if you just sit down and start trying to breathe slowly and watch your breathing and get rid of your thoughts, you'll start thinking more and more about how terrible the pain can be. So first, one needs to learn how to meditate, and don't please try to immediately use it to quiet yourself in very stressful situation. You need to give yourself some time and space to learn how to meditate. So all the benefits that Master McMaster just mentioned are going to come along. But if somebody is suicidal right now, they need to go to the nearest emergency room.
Right. It's not like, oh, yeah, just go ahead and meditate and it's going to,
Right. It might
make it all
actually,
go away.
yes, it actually might make things worse.
Right. So some of the other benefits that different kinds of studies have found, and we'll post links to these studies on our website, brainstorm9000.com,
Right.
are that it's debatable whether or not it could be an alternative to medication.
It can be. Anything can be an alternative to medication
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
if somebody knows how to use it.
So here's a list of some specific things, not just mental health issues, that meditation has found to be helpful for. Meditation has been found to decrease stress and hypertension, has been known to induce positive emotions, reduce oxidative damage, support enhanced immune functioning, and through these mechanisms, meditation may help with things like learning, cognition, and promoting neuroplasticity. And also one thing that I thought was really cool that's on a related note is that one study, a 2005 study, found that people who practice meditation regularly have increased cortical thickness in regions that are associated with attention and sensory perception, and that also that these people have reduced rumination, like
Right.
people with anxiety tend to do,
Yes.
reduce stress, boost in working memory, and increase in ability to focus. So basically everything that I need and currently lack.
So why don't we arrive to the point when we finally give our audience and you, Master McMaster, meat and potatoes of meditation?
Please tell me how to meditate. I want to know. The app is great, but it's not helping me. I'm not centered. Please help me.
Right. So first of all, guided meditation is a very good way to start. And basically, you people have two choices. Either you decide to meditate, and you put your cell phones down, meaning you shut them off.
I don't feel comfortable with that, Dr. Schultz.
Right. So, but this is the only way to do it. And again, you should not meditate for longer than 10 minutes a day.
Okay.
That is not only my opinion, that is what I've been taught, because we are born to have active, fulfilling life in the society.
Really?
Well, you were born in the United States, right? You weren't born in Nepal, in a monastery, and have not become a monk.
You know, sometimes I wish that I had.
You would go crazy in the monastery because they also have politics there, and everybody wants teacher to see them and acknowledge them. Look,
Oh, so they're not perfect.
people are people and humans are humans. And I've been to a few places and I can testify. So, throwing yourself immediately into meditation is not such a good idea based on what I've been taught and successfully practiced. The beginning is usually is to learn how to use an object that very strongly attracts your attention to be quiet.
So not Netflix.
Not Netflix. One of the most famous exercises that people do is called Trataka in India. And what you do, and we are going to post short videos on our website and probably even on YouTube so you can watch how I do it. You take a candle, you put it on the same level with your eyes. So you don't need to be in a lotus position. You don't need to be in a semi-lotus position. You need to be in a comfortable position, and you need to sit up, because if you lie down, you'll fall asleep, right? So you do it in a comfortable sitting position, and you open your eyes and stare at the candle, first for about 5 seconds, and then you close your eyes. Because of the way our eyes function, you'll still be able to see the imprint of the candle. So you'll close your eyes, you are not looking at the candle, but you'll still see the flame. You can try it anytime and I'll be right. So then what you do, you try to see how long you can maintain this image. So 5 to 10 seconds staring, and then you close your eyes. And you can do it a few times a day, and you can do it a few times in one sitting. Once you are able to hold this image for an extended period of time, I'll be very brutally optimistic here. For about 30 seconds, you can move to the next exercise. When you take a picture that has nothing moving on it, no humans, no animals, no moving water. Again, we are going to place an example of such a picture, but you've seen pictures like that. So it could be a picture of a forest.
So just nature.
Nature, but not like, for example, a picture of an ocean is not good because it has waves, they move, right?
Okay.
In your imagination, you'll immediately be able to restore the movement. You don't want that. But if it's a lake with a nice bridge over it, so anything that is not going to distract you from counting how many sheep there are, or looking at the bull, or looking at the ship, how it crosses the ocean. Mm-hmm. No moving parts. We'll give you quite a few of examples of famous and less famous pictures, so you can imagine. So again, you sit in a comfortable position, you hold this picture at the distance of about probably 2 or 3 feet, and you open your eyes, and you look at it, let's say for initially a minute, maybe 2, hoping that no thoughts are going to come to your mind.
Okay, that's funny because I was just about to ask, so when you're looking at this picture,
Right.
what should you be thinking? Is there anything in particular you should be trying to pay attention to?
So I'll tell you what's going to happen to you, and you tell me whether I'm right or am I right, or am I very, very right.
Okay, those are just some very different options.
You are going to try to get rid of your thoughts, and thoughts are going to run right into your brain. And what you do is you keep looking at the picture. You can blink, by the way, people. When you look at the flame, try not to blink. So if it's just a few seconds, it's okay. But here you can blink. Just pay attention to the picture only. It has to be in a quiet room. Your cell phone cannot be in the room, and you cannot be checking your messages, okay? So,
is there a particular kind of lighting that needs to be?
no, it's just, comfortable lighting for you. The room doesn't have to be dark. Of course, traditionally, in traditional schools, people are advised to do it in the morning, and we'll come to that point a little bit later because there are other important things for me to tell you. And you look at this picture. You don't need to try to smile and quiet your mind. Just look at it and pay attention to the picture. Thoughts are going to run in, and you say to 1 or 2 or 1,000 or 2 million thoughts, "Oh, thoughts, welcome. I'm so glad you came. Why don't you come a little bit later?"
Yeah, so this is something I've heard before, like in my yoga classes, and
Right.
also sometimes in the guided meditation, is that people will say, as thoughts come into your mind, just observe them and let them fall away.
So what they mean is just don't follow through. Like, for example, thought comes to your mind, "Oh my God, what do I need to dress like for tonight's dinner?" And then you say, "I'll think about it later." So do whatever works for you. And so what you're doing in the first month or 2 or the first week or 2, you are just getting used to the process. So it has to be done at the same time, in the same room. It has to be comfortable for you, and you shouldn't be in a rush. So please don't set any dates by which you have to achieve your goal. There are no deadlines. You would like to be able to do it. So you just practice watching this picture. It has to be the same picture every single day. Start from whatever number of minutes you are comfortable to do it. What eventually is going to happen, sooner or later, your mind is going to clear. It might, and here I'm going to become real, people. It might take you a few months. It might take you a few years. I have no idea. But it's worth doing it, because just by doing that, your mind is going to quiet down. You'll feel different in a month that you are feeling today. That's for sure. You don't need to watch your breathing. Not that it's a bad idea. It's a good idea. But you don't need to do it. You just look at the picture.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to ask you when you were saying, just when you just tell thoughts to go away, like, You make it sound so easy. Like
No, you
like
don't,
that sounds so hard. But are you saying then that just like if you just kind of keep trying, eventually it'll happen?
So now the important point. So this is it. I'm not going to say anything about further steps because once, and this is again, this is weird, and I don't know that a lot of people talk about it to the audience. What is going to happen is that once your thoughts quiet down, you don't need any further guidance. Your quiet mind is the state you want to achieve, and then if you decide to take the picture away or to keep it, it makes absolutely no difference. You are in the state. Is there a way to speed up the process? Of course. One, you need to be aware that the brain spends up an enormous amount of energy when you meditate. If you pay attention to pictures of very famous meditation yoga teachers, it's called Raja Yoga, the part that takes care of meditation. A lot of them look very overweight. So they sit in the lotus position. They're dressed, you can tell it's a yoga master, but they have extra weight. The reason is they eat a lot of sweets because brain requires glucose, right? Am I going to tell you to start eating ice cream every day? Absolutely not. What we recommend is to practice Hatha yoga, meaning to do asanas, before you meditate. So meditation, if you are a person who actively practices yoga, is done at the very end of your set of exercises. And don't forget that your set of yoga exercises, and I'm not trying to be a yoga teacher here, listen to whoever you go to, normally starts and ends with Shavasana, which is a posture of total relaxation. When you lie down on the floor, and there are many other things that need to be done during this process, also takes years to learn. So usually the full set of exercise includes Shavasana, then breathing exercises.
Or savasana is the state where you're just lying on your back.
Yeah, you're lying on your back and you're trying to relax as much as you can. So then after that, usually people do breathing exercises, then they do yoga postures, asanas, then Shavasana again, and then you meditate. It's the very end of your exercise. Why is it done that way? Because you power up your brain first, and you basically relax it, because every asana is a meditative state. People who perfected Hatha yoga, in every single asana, no matter how uncomfortable it looks to you in the beginning, achieve a state of meditation. But this is super advanced, and you don't need to worry about it. Just do what you need to do. If you don't have a tendency to practice every day, at least do the sun salutation, Surya Namaskar, at least that. You know, cyclical, it's a cycle of a few postures that you do every day. You can watch it on YouTube, it's no big deal. But if you are not used to all this stuff and you have extra weight and you cannot bend, just sit and, do what I suggest. Trataka first is going to take you probably a few weeks, and once you are comfortable, you see that you can hold the image, then you move into the state of observing the picture, looking at the picture. You can call it meditation if you want to. After you perfected this, you'll start meditating without anybody telling you what to do. And then you come back to me and tell me what state you achieved. So this is it.
Is that so? If eventually, when you get really good at it, then would you still try to create an image in your mind in order to meditate?
Listen, all this stuff is extremely strange. I mean, of course, we are trying to make it sound attractive to the Western mind and cite different studies, and they're all accurate. But actually, once you are in the meditative state, you don't need any additional guidance. Something else switches on, and then you'll decide whether you need a picture or not. You don't need anybody to tell you. You want to have a picture, you'll have a picture. You'll stop paying attention. A number of people who know me for an extended period of time sometimes tell me, where are you looking? Or what are you looking at? Because if I switch off my mind, even my eyes go kind of like to the side. Like one goes one side, another to the other, but not too much, just a little bit. Like my face looks as if I'm not there. I've heard it many, many times. So There's nothing else to share. Seriously, I just gave you all the secrets, which are quiet your mind when you decide to practice by switching off the media and sitting in a quiet place. If you have pets, it's not a good idea for your pet, if the pet is very intrusive, to be around you because they are going to distract you enormously. If you have a spouse who doesn't meditate, you let them know that you are going to do it and they shouldn't talk to you about paying bills and whatever else you guys talk about and going on vacation. So it's your quiet 10 minutes a day. You don't need more. Please don't do more.
Yeah, so why shouldn't people do more than 10 minutes?
Because it's going to distract them from real life. They can do whatever they want. If they decide to go to the monastery and meditate forever, it's a very good idea. By the way, another thing to try is to try silent retreats. Do not do more than a day or even half a day at a time. In most of the silent retreats, they'll allow you to do shorter than 3 days. And if they don't, find another place. And the way it looks, you come in, they take away everything from you, and you spend your 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. You should see McMaster's face right now.
It just sounds like my biggest fear.
Right. So, but this is one of the things to do. Or if you are single, and you can just try not to talk for an hour and see what's going to happen. So that's it.
Okay.
The Schultz has spoken his wisdom.
The Schultz has spoken. I have one question that I'm hoping you can answer.
Oh, of course.
And, this might be one of those unanswerable questions, but so one thing that I have noticed is at least we talked about in one of our recent episodes about neurofeedback, and I've been doing neurofeedback.
Yes.
And so for anyone who doesn't know what this is, you should go back and listen to our neurofeedback episode. It's super interesting, but just as a brief overview, I'm tracking the electrical activity in my brain and trying to get it to go to like a balanced level, so it's not hyperactive.
Right.
Which is what it is when you have anxiety.
Right.
And you focus on a dot. And so when you were talking about when you get into that state, then you just stay there. So my problem is, doing neurofeedback feels kind of like trying to meditate.
Right.
Because it's trying to relax and clear your mind, at least if you have anxiety.
Right.
If you have depression, it's going to be a different kind of process.
Right.
But so when I do get that green light, and I can even hold it for a couple of seconds, then I become aware. It's like involuntary. I become aware that I'm holding this state. The light is green. I'm doing good. And then it's like it ruins it for me. And then I fall out of it.
Yes.
It's like if you're balancing and then you are really focused and you become aware. And so you fall out of it. Or it's like in,
it's a famous phenomenon. For example, you decide to learn how to walk a rope. I don't know how to do it, but I've seen people do it. And finally, you are walking the rope and not falling. You say, yay! And this moment you fall because you you switched on your consciousness, which is in a way. How many times have you seen it in any type of martial arts movies?
And let's not forget the incredible movie, The Craft, in which one of the witches is meditating and then like someone distracts her and she's like floating off the ground. Someone distracts her and she falls down on her ass.
Yeah. So yes, you are absolutely correct. And you are actually in a meditative or semi-meditative state when you do neurobiofeedback the way you do it, trying to raise your awareness. But the awareness is not about the environment. The awareness is about your inner self, which is very quiet. The famous nirvana state is actually not necessarily, unlike a lot of people believe, is what you achieve after you die. This is the state in which most of the yoga masters exist most of the time during their life, this lifetime. It's a feeling of contentment. You are content.
I want that.
Like Buddha with a semi-smile. Yeah. But no matter how much we describe the stuff and talk about it, it makes absolutely no sense until you try. So
yeah, like you probably, these kinds of things, you can't talk through the problems. You just have to try it and practice.
Yeah. So
which is what I need to do.
Yeah, so picture is very, very helpful. And that's all I have to say.
Wonderful. Well, I have to say, this conversation has been very enlightening. See what I did there?
Yes.
And I feel better. I feel more confident about my ability to meditate. I think I'm so afraid of not being able to do it that I end up, not following through with it, not trying to do it every day. But I'm going to try. And maybe we'll follow up on this and see.
Maybe we'll do a very short video and in which I'll show you how to do it in front of the camera, and you'll try it and tell us honestly what you feel. How about that?
Okay, yeah.
All right.
I'd be willing to try that.
So maybe now we should sing Om.
Yes, can you...
It's a joke, okay? You don't need to sing Om.
Wait, can you explain why the significance of the Om?
No, I'm just kidding. We are not going to sing it. No, people make this sound in the process of certain sophisticated and complicated exercises. It's also usually predated by a number of other exercises. And yesterday, during our discussion for the prep for this episode, I tried to sing it, and I wasn't very happy with how I've done, so I'm not going to do it.
Self-conscious about your own.
No. It's just I haven't been doing Hatha Yoga for a few years. So.
You sure you don't want to give it a try? Maybe our audience can try along.
Okay.
All right, audience, if you want to Om along with us, if you're on the subway, maybe don't do it then. Wait till you get home and...
Okay.
But, okay, let's try this. Dr. Schultz, you lead, and I'm going to kind of come in and join in.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right.
That was pretty relaxing.
Well, we did something. Yeah?
That was kind of nice.
Yeah, if you can imagine 5 people or 50 people doing it together, it's fun.
That sounds intense, actually. That sounds awesome.
People, keep your brains open.
And keep your brains healthy by trying to quiet them down using things like meditation.
Shut off your stupid cell phones after you're done listening to our podcast.
After.
And take your backpacks off, okay?
Yes, it's important. Be kind to other people, be aware of other people, and have a very calm day.
Goodbye.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode of BrainStorm 9000. If you like us, love us, or marginally tolerate us, hey, go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give us a review on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever the hell you listen to your podcasts.